Now we introduce another method solving quadratic equation. It's called completing the square, or some book called completing the perfect square. So this method is relatively difficult compared factoring method, quadratic formula method, or square root method. So the idea is we try to make, or we try to utilize the x second power term and x first power term and add another constant in order to make it become a perfect square, which is something square, like this x plus some kind of constant, okay, raised to the second power. And the right-hand side of the equation, we try to get it a positive constant number so that we can use square root method. X plus c equals plus or minus square root of p. Okay, that's the direction we would like to go. So how to make x squared plus 5x into a perfect square, that is the difficult part. So in order to help you to understand the whole process, I would like to quickly review how we do two binomial multiply itself. Okay, let's look at example. For example, we try to do x plus 1 raised to the second power. Okay, that's the same as x plus 1 times x plus 1, isn't it? And then we use a FOIL rule. First term, that's x squared. Outer term, that's plus 1x. Inner term, plus another 1x. And the last term, 1 times 1 with plus 1. So if you noticed, for the perfect square, or two binomial multiply itself, the outer, inner, they always identical, right? Therefore, when we combine these two terms, it's always twice of this, twice of either outer or inner, since they're the same, plus 1. Okay, so we know now the perfect square trinomial, the middle term coefficient actually is the twice of either outer term or inner term. Is that right? Okay, so that's the foundation. Okay, you need to understand this part, and then we have to go backwards. So now let's look at this quadratic equation. We try to solve x squared plus 5x plus 4 equals 0 by completing the square method. So first step, we need to move the constant term to right-hand side of the equation by subtract 4 on both sides. Okay, so we get, I'm going to write on the left-hand side, so I have a little bit more space. X squared plus 5x equals negative 4, right? And then in order to make left-hand side become a perfect square, we need to add some kind of constant, right? X squared plus 5x. We need to add something here in order to make, equation equivalent, right? Or we try to make equation without any change, but at the same time, we try to make this three term become a trinomial, or write as a perfect square like this. So what constant to add it? That really depends on, what's this coefficient going to be. For the x first power coefficient is 5. We know that's coming from twice, right? Look at here, twice of outer inner. So can we figure out what is the outer term, or what is the constant term x multiplied with? So we can figure that out by use 5 divided by 2, isn't it? So actually, we get the perfect square is x, that's the first term, plus use x first power coefficient 5 divided by 2, and then that make it become a perfect square. Okay? Are you guys still with me? So from here to here, okay, that's coming from how the perfect square trinomial, structure works. And then now we can fill in this blank. What kind of constant we need to add in? We need to square 5 over 2, right, which is 25 over 4. So we need to add both sides of the equation by 25 over 4 in order to make this trinomial become perfect square, which is x plus 5 over 2 whole thing squared. And then right hand side, these two constant term we need to combine, right? So I'm going to work it out here. Negative 4 we can write as negative 24. No, isn't. If we try to make a denominator 4, right? 4 times 4, that's 16. So negative 16 over 4, that's equivalent to negative 4. And then plus 25 over 4. We combine these two constants, we will get 9 over 4. Is that right? So right hand side is 9 over 4. So let me just rewrite it so you can see clear. So we got the left hand side actually is x plus 5 over 2 raised to the second power equals 9 over 4. This equation is exactly equivalent to the original equation, okay? Because every step we have been doing, we doesn't change anything. First, we add 25 over 4 on both sides of the equation, right here, right? So nothing has been changed. And then why we add a 25 over 4? Because we try to make left hand side a perfect square. And then right hand side, the two constant term add or combine, then that's the constant we get. So that is the new quadratic equation, okay, which is equivalent as original quadratic equation. So now left hand side is something square, right hand side is a positive number, and then we can use square root method, which is x plus 5 over 2, both sides of the equation, find the square root, right? That's equals plus or minus square root of 9 over 4, which we can split it up, one positive sign, one negative sign, right? So x plus 5 over 2 either equals positive square root 9 over 4. We can simplify that as 3 over 2. The other one is x plus 5 over 2 equals negative 3 over 2. And then we simplify, solve for the x. Right? Subtract 5 over 2, we get negative 2 over 2, which is minus 1. The other one is minus 5 over 2, that's negative 8 over 2. We get negative 4. So the solution, we have two real number solutions. One is negative 1, the other is negative 4. I hope this whole process, not that confusing to you. Okay, my handwriting not as neat as the book, so you can look at the next slides to see if you can follow the process. And then we're gonna try another example. Okay, I'm gonna repeat this process. So first step, we move constant term to the other side, right? So we have 2x squared minus 8x equals 5. Add a 5 on both sides of the equation. And then we always want to keep the leading coefficient is 1 instead of 2. Okay, just try to make our job easier. So we both sides of the equation divided by 2 in order to clear the coefficient 2. So we have x squared minus 4x equals 5 over 2. Now we try to do completing perfect square, right? So x squared minus 4x, what kind of constant we need to add in here to make a perfect square? Can anybody figure that out? And then to make what kind of perfect square? We actually make what? X, we take the x first power coefficient divided by 2, right? negative 4 divided by 2 equals negative 2. So here we should put a negative 2, make it a perfect square. And then go back to fill out the blank. Negative 2 square, that should go to the blank, which is equal to positive 4. So in other words, both sides of the equation, we need to add a 4 in order to make the new equation still equivalent to original, but at the same time, left-hand side, this trinomial can rewrite as a perfect square. And the right-hand side, just combine 5 over 2 plus 4. 4 is 8 over 2, so add 5, that's 13 over 2. Is that right? And then now we can apply square root method. So x minus 2 should equals plus or minus square root of 13 over 2. Right? So if we move the minus 2 to right hand side, so x equals 2 plus or minus square root of 13 over 2. But normally we want to rationalize, we don't want to leave any denominator, right, inside of the roots. So that's why we times 2 here, times 2 here. So that's equals 2 plus or minus. We get 2 outside of the square root. So that's 1/2 square root of 26. So the two solution, one is 2 plus square root of 26 over 2. The other one is 2 minus square root of 26 over 2. That's the two solution for this quadratic equation. And the next few slides is giving you the detailed steps. Okay, so if my handwriting is not clear, and then read the slides, see if you can follow better.